12th of recess. We are back in business and hope to have a great session. As the new fiscal year 2019-2020 approach, we are focusing our attention on our city budget for the year 2019-2020, finding ways to tackling the environmental crisis that we are facing not only in South Florida in our county, but in our city, and at the same time preparing for the 2020 census. As we move forward, I'm confident that we are going to work together and make a change in our city. Let's get to work. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilman Desilme,
Here.
Vice Mayor Keys. Here. Councilman Galvin.
Here.
Councilwoman Estime Irvin. Mayor Bieneme.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. And now, for the Pledge of Allegiance, we're going to have Detective Oswald Salien from the North Miami Police Department, followed by invocation with Pastor Derek Allen from Christ Center Church. Please rise.
If everyone could just place your right hand over your chest, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes. Okay, you may not be
Pastor.
seated. Oh,
Thank you. No, Pastor Derek Allen for invocation.
I think he's doing it.
Pastor,
You doing it?
no,
He's doing the invocation.
he's not. Can we call Mr. Brinson?
Let's all bow. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity for us to come out and carry out the city's business. We thank you for everyone who has come out. We hope that everything said and done here will be for the benefit of the city. We ask special blessing upon everyone who is coming tonight. Let's all say amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Be seated.
She's gonna come here anymore.
it's because they couldn't see, that's why.
We don't have any special presentation tonight. City events and announcement.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and North Miami neighbors. I'm Eunicia Baker. I'm the Senior Public Information Officer for the City of North Miami, and I'm here to share some of our city's upcoming outreach events, programs, and initiatives with you. If you're a North Miami water utility customer, please note that all in-person utility billing customer service needs are now being handled exclusively at the new City of North Miami Customer Service Center. Such services include new account creations, account reactivations, account closures, customer inquiries, payments, and sewer credit application submissions. The NOMI CSC is located right across the street at 811 Northeast 125th Street. Be sure to have all required documents in hand before visiting. The NOMI water utility customers should also note that the city now has a new and improved online utility bill payment system. It's located on our e-services portal or at northmiamifl.gov/utility bill. The new system has no minimum payment amounts. It also has no convenience fees, and you can also make online payments of delinquent accounts. For more information, please contact the Utility Billing Customer Service team at 305-895-9330. The Florida Department of Transportation is developing the design for 3 roadway improvement projects along State Road 909, West Dixie Highway, from Northeast 119th Street to the north of Northeast 124th Street, and State Road 922, which is Northeast 125th Street, from Northeast 5th Avenue to Northeast 7th Avenue in Miami-Dade County. FDOT would like to further discuss this project with North Miami residents during a community meeting on Thursday, August 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. here in the North Miami Council Chamber. Everyone is invited. Mayor Philippe Bieneme is in collaboration with Vice Mayor Carol Keys Esquire Councilwoman Mary Estime Irvin, elected City Clerk Vanessa Joseph Esquire, and the Florida Immigrant Coalition, also known as FLIC, to host a citizenship drive for North Miami residents. The drive will provide resources to guide qualifying residents through the naturalization process. This event takes place Saturday, August 31st from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the North Miami Public Library. If you have questions, call FLIC at 305-571-7254. Fiscal year 2020 budget hearings are scheduled for 6 p.m. on Tuesday, September 3rd and Tuesday, September 17th here in the North Miami Council Chamber. North Miami residents are invited to join the mayor, council, and city staff for both hearings. The Museum of Contemporary Art North Miami, also known as MoCA, is pleased to launch the fall season with the unveiling of the South Florida Cultural Consortium exhibition. On view, September 5th until October 20th, this exhibition is made possible in cooperation with Miami-Dade County's Department of Cultural Affairs. This group exhibition presents work by artists exclusively from South Florida who live and work in Broward, Martin Monroe, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade counties. The opening reception will take place September 12th at 7 p.m. at MoCA. Van Allen Institute, in collaboration with the City of North Miami, will host its next public workshop regarding the Keep Current Repetitive Lost Properties project. Members of the North Miami community are invited to learn more about the vision, share ideas, and meet the design team who will transform a flood-prone lot here in our community. The next workshop will take place Monday, September 9th from 5:30 p.m. until 8 p.m. at the project site, which is located at 901 Northeast 144th Street here in North Miami. RSVP at nomidesign.org. The North Miami Parks and Recreation Department is hosting full moon yoga and meditation on Saturday, September 14th from 7 to 8 p.m. at Griffin Park. The session is free and open to all ages. Bring your mat. And for more information, contact the Parks and Recreation Department, 305-895-9840. Mayor Philippe Bien-Aimé invites North Miami residents to a walkthrough farm share food distribution at Griffin Park on Wednesday, September 18th from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Items are available on a first-come, first-served basis. Councilwoman Mary Estime Irvin invites you to a District 3 community workshop on Thursday, September 19th at Griffin Community Center. Representatives from the Police Department, Public Works, Code Compliance, and Utility Billing will be in attendance to answer questions and address concerns from members of the public. For more information, contact the Mayor and Council's office, 305-895-8918. Stay up to date with the latest happenings in our city during the summer with the latest happenings in our city by visiting northmiamifl.gov and then click on Connect with NOMI on the homepage, where you can also sign up to receive our monthly NOMI newsletter. Residents will also be able to like us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, for the record.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
As of 7:04, Councilwoman Estime Irvin is present.
Thank you very much. City projects.
No project update, but we do have a hurricane update.
Hurricane preparedness.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Commander Angelo Brinson, Emergency Manager. As of the 5 o'clock advisory today, Tropical Storm Dorian still has sustained winds of 50 miles per hour. In order to be a hurricane, it has to have a minimum miles per hour wind speed of 74. So it's still a medium-sized tropical storm. As of tomorrow, Dorian will start impacting Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands as it continues to travel to the west. That impact will continue to break up the storm. So at this time, as the storm moves to west-northwest, that's good because it's away from us. So we should just have a rain event this weekend by the time it reaches us. However, we are still preparing as if the storm is coming, and should we have any other serious impacts, we're prepared to respond for whatever happens.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? No?
I have,
Yes.
Yes.
should we be making any announcements, or should our residents be told now's not the time to empty out the houses and to do their house cleaning, and now's not the time to just start trimming trees and really loading up on the bulk?
Yeah, we will send out those type of messages. I've been sending that message out the entire hurricane season, that once you get an alert, that's not the time to go trim your trees or put out trash piles. But we'll continue to send that message out along with the updates as we monitor.
will we be sending, can we send code out to, there's a lot of building going on, there's a lot of loose, building materials and stuff. Can we alert those people that they need to get those things secured?
As, ma'am, as of Monday morning, Steve Pizzillo, our building inspector, him and his department have been going around to all construction sites that we're aware of and handing out flyers
Great.
and letting them know that we are monitoring the storm and that they need to be prepared to shut down should we receive an impact.
Thank you, Mr. Pizzillo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now let's go to the agenda. City manager, do we have any addition, deletion, or any movement on the agenda?
Very quickly, sir, I would like to add tab G and tab L to the consent agenda.
I'm sorry, you
She-
say
wait.
you want to remove it or you want to add?
Add tab G and tab L to the consent agenda.
What is G?
Tab L.
G is the procurement of the leak detection equipment, 30,000, and L is the purchase of the channel markers,
So where are we adding it? Just-
64. It's under the threshold.
I thought we didn't, do we have a threshold? I thought we didn't. What is it?
100,000.
100?
It's
Oh, wow.
depend only for construction. Do you
Oh,
have
okay.
any question? Do you
No.
you agree that
No, that's fine.
that's fine?
Just didn't know.
Motion to move G and L.
Second.
I have a motion to move tabs G and L to the consent agenda made by Councilman Galvin, a second by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The
Thank you.
item passes 5-0.
Also, one other, I'd like for you to consider tab Q
Tab Q.
earlier in the agenda following the consent.
Actually, I'd like to make a motion that we actually table tab Q,
Wait, give me a second.
please.
You wanna move it to?
My request was just to move it up in the agenda.
Yes, that's what we gotta do first, and after that let's set the agenda then. Okay. And you want tab Q?
Move where?
Immediately
After-
following the
First.
consent
Oh, okay.
agenda.
After the consent. And before we move forward, I have tab,
I wanted
Yes.
to pull tab F for discussion.
we're gonna pull tab F for discussion.
Stop F, okay. Okay.
Tab F for discussions.
I don't know if you want to just discuss it before we vote or however.
Just for discussion, what's that? For discussion, okay. And are we done with the removal? And I wanna remove tab D from the consent.
D?
D, like dog.
You want to move it completely? Oh,
No,
from
remove it,
consent.
yeah, from
I
consent.
see, got it.
And we can exchange it with Q,
Okay. So this is
right? Yeah.
here.
Change with
Right.
Q.
Like
You understand, after,
Yeah.
for
After-
last, yeah,
after,
yeah,
yeah,
that's what
after,
we made,
after,
not
sorry.
exchange, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, tab D. And
QD. Okay.
are you okay with all the changes, Madam
Yeah,
Clerk?
okay.
Okay.
And now, Mr.
Is that
City Attorney, is the agenda set
Yes, Mayor, the agenda set, you may proceed.
with the change? Thank you very much. Can I hear a motion on the consent now without tab D?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
And F. G and F.
Thank you very much.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the consent agenda with tabs A, B, C, E, G, and L. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Mary Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes 5-0 vote.
And now, thank you
Wait,
very
I'm sorry,
much.
I'm sorry. Wait.
Sorry.
Which tab, because there was a tab, I'm sorry, which tab did we
So we
pass,
pulled
we put in the consent?
A, B, C. We removed D.
Mhm.
E, removed F, added G, and added L.
I need to make a motion with L,
Yeah.
to pull it out. I have some questions.
Okay,
I'll withdraw my motion to approve the consent agenda as previously read.
okay.
I'm sorry.
And now, no,
Wow.
That's fine.
Be a long night.
okay, you wanna remove L, right?
Yes.
And L is not on consent.
No,
Okay.
that's what she was reading it in the consent.
You added, we
I
added
didn't
it.
add it.
You made a motion to
You made a
Oh, that's
motion
what
to
I-
add
They
it.
added, do you wanna remove it?
That's what I wanted to.
You wanna remove it?
Because I have a question regarding L.
Okay, thank,
Oh, okay, I thought you did.
she make the motion to add it, and he passed it.
Oh, he did. Scott did. Scott, you did?
I made a motion that we would accept the consent agenda, including tabs A, B, C, E, G, and L.
Yes,
Okay.
the 64,000
And I
and the
second
30.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna
And
discuss
the five.
D as in dog and F as in Frank separately.
Okay,
And then
then
we're gonna
that-
go
Do
to
you have a
Q.
question on?
I'm all right.
on-
That's okay. That's
Do you have a question? We can do
no,
that
no,
now.
no, no. It's okay. It's
before
okay.
we set.
So is
It's okay. We could set it.
Okay.
Okay,
So are you,
Don't ask me
are
to
you
repeat
moving,
that.
are you going to move it, Councilman?
I again
move it, yeah.
motioned the approval of the consent agenda with items A, B, C, E, G, and L.
And I second it again.
We've already voted, so.
you already
Well-
voted.
But I had withdrawn my motion out of consideration.
Yeah,
so
Yes.
I'm
and
remaking
he
it
added
again.
it again, that's
And
when-
record me as a note, just for the record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Too long of recess.
Okay, thank you very much. And now, tab Q. And tab
Do I have
Q
to do D and
is
F?
a,
You want to do Q before D and F?
that's what you
Yeah,
asked to
that's what
him.
I said.
That's what they asked, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And now tab Q
Right.
is a quasi judiciary item.
Mr.
Madam Clerk,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to motion that we table this for until the next council meeting, please.
Second the motion to continue.
and
All right, I have a motion to.
listen,
tab-
before we move, it's a quasi judiciary, and I think that we have multiple people in this room ready for that item. And we have lawyers coming from out of the state, and you have residents here ready to talk about the item. And you still want to table it, Madam?
Yes, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
if that be the will of the council.
Mr. Winbrook,
Mayor,
how are
if I
you?
could, Mayor, members of
Everything's-
council, Mr. City Manager, the City Attorney, on behalf of the applicant, at the suggestion of the District Commissioner, we are prepared to accept a deferral for the 2 weeks. We appreciate the effort and the spirit of which more information needs to be provided. So if we could go ahead and accept her motion to deferral, the applicant has no objection.
Thank you very much. Motion accepted. And second, Madam Clerk, can you do roll call? It's a quasi judiciary item.
Yes. For the record, I have to read the actual text of the item. Tab Q is resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, acting as the zoning appeals board pursuant to section 2-501 of the land development regulations, considering an appeal of a denial of an application for a special exception permit pursuant to Article 5, Division 1, Section 5-101E of the Land Development Regulations, LDRs, to allow a proposed drive-through in connection with a Wendy's restaurant at the property located at 13400 Northeast 3rd Court in the C1 District. Said special exception to be reviewed under the criteria set forth in Article 3, Division 5, Section 3-504 of the LDRs, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. I have a motion to table the item until the next council meeting made by Councilwoman Estime Irvin. It was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
It's going to be a roll call.
No. Oh, yeah, roll call.
Roll call, yeah.
Excuse me, it should be a roll call vote.
It's just for two.
Vice Mayor Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Dezome, how do you vote?
No.
Councilwoman Estime Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes?
Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
The item passes with a 4-0 vote.
No Wendy's tonight.
4-1, excuse me, a 4-1 vote.
Everybody
Yes.
head to Popeyes for that chicken.
Yeah, go to Papa. Bring me back a sandwich.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And Madam Clerk,
Tab D.
hmm?
Tab D.
Yes.
Tab D, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the
You
city
are
of
tab
North.
D? D, like dog.
Yes.
Okay.
Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, declaring surplus city-owned rights-of-way located along I-95 and 135th Street, also known as parcel number 117, authorizing the conveyance of same to the Florida Department of Transportation, FDOT, in accordance with Section 7-145 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances for no monetary consideration for improvements along the I-95 corridor, authorizing the city manager to take all actions necessary to accomplish the conveyance of said property, including the execution of deeds for such purposes, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Thank you very much, council member, vice mayor, and council member. And for years, I've been fighting with our public work department, try to bring FDOT on board on the landscaping of I-90 and in and out of the city of North Miami, 135th, 125th, 119, both sides. If you come in from maybe Weston, if you come in from Broward, all the way to the downtown, if you see both sides, you're gonna see some nice landscaping, except North Miami. We've been trying to reach out to FDOT, and just today I received an email stated that they are conducting a study. I would like to see that study done not only for both in and out on 135th Street, but also on 125th and 119. That's why before we move forward with that item and allow FDOT to do improvements, and by using city land, I would like to make it some type of negotiation in order to force them not only to do that improvements, but also in and out 135th Street, 125th Street, and 119. That's why I would like to make a motion to table that item until we get to a resolution with that FDOT on making sure that we do the landscaping on all those three entrances of the city of North Miami, and that's my motion.
I would
On tab D.
I'd second that.
Which tab, Mr. Mayor?
Tab D.
Tab D. Oh,
Yeah. It's like they want to remove the wall on I-95, but they're going to use a part of city land, but at the same, the big one on I-95. That's the two, just for improvements. But at the same time, we've been working with them for years for 135th Street, like 125th and 119. It seems like when you go to Plantation and elsewhere, they spend a lot of money on landscaping. When you go on I-95, because the Super Bowl is coming, you see some trees and a lot of landscaping. But when it comes to North Miami, it's like they don't pay attention to us. That's why I would like to table the item. So when they come up on the table with us and decided to do something for North Miami, so we will be a good neighbor to them. It's table the item. It's second, Madam City Clerk.
I have a motion to table the item made by Mayor Bienemay. I have a second by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you very much, guys.
The
That
item
means
passes with a 5-0 vote.
thank you, and see the manager and Public Works and see if we can clean up 135th, 125th. Every time I have to call Public Works and to do something. We need to do something. We want to work with you, but you got to be able to work with us too. And on that, that's all. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next item.
Tab F, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving a sister city affiliation with the city of Coatepec, Haiti, through the Sister Cities program. Further authorizing the city manager and the city attorney to negotiate and execute all necessary documents to effectuate said sister city affiliation, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Thank you very much. We are going to open public hearing on the item, but before we move forward, I have a question for the maker of the motion of the item, it's Councilwoman Marie-Estime Yevin. Is there any money attached to the decision?
No, I move, it's Councilman Irvin's motion, I mean, it's my motion to pull it.
Yeah, she
to discuss
she
it.
have question for discussion. Yeah, we're gonna move it for discussion. I have a question.
Okay.
Is that included money? Are we
Can
gonna
I- Sure.
Staff, yeah.
So, Natasha Colebrook-Williams and I have been working on this, and I'll go ahead and defer to her. Go ahead, Ms. Williams.
To establish Natasha Colebrook-Williams,
Can-
Chief of Staff. Can you hear me? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Project a little bit for us old people.
Natasha Colebrook-Williams, Chief of Staff, to enter into an agreement. There's no associated cost.
Okay, and from what I understand in the proposed budget, when it comes to sister cities, as proposed by the administration, we still have the same amount.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Mayor.
No, well, my question was, I've gotten calls and some comments on it, so I wanted to make sure there is no cost. Is this the third or the fourth city, sister city, that we have in Haiti?
This would be the third. We have 2 active sister city relationships. If you move forward this evening, this would be the third. We have one that's inactive. The terminology used by Sister Cities International is that it's dormant, which we've officially submitted paperwork for.
So is there any background? I'm going to ask Councilman Irvin, why did we pick this city? I mean, I don't have an objection. I'd just like to know where the city is, why we chose this city, a little bit about it. And also, in the future, I'd like to have a discussion about sister cities, where we're going with this. I know, Councilman DeSoma, you're very active in that. And we keep picking one country. I'd like to see if we can't include a couple other cities. If it doesn't cost the city anything to have sister cities, I think we should be more inclusive, more diverse with our sister city program.
And
Can I?
yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry. As a board member of Sister City International, which I just learned about the item myself, there isn't a cost, and the mission of Sister City is really to promote democracy, which we badly need in this time around the world, et cetera, et cetera. There are a couple. We have a city we're looking at in Israel. Perhaps in China, we are talking about another sister city. It's just a process that's a little bit longer, because I know I have asked Natasha and staff is working in for China. I hear Puerto Rico. So you could add as many cities as you want. There's not really a cost to it, because it's just a matter of technical support. A lot of it is there's not really, some of it doesn't really does anything with the relation. So for folks who understand it, like the city of Miami have at least 20. So there's other cities throughout the world that have, it's just a friendship relationship that sometimes they come and learn technical support and different things about how to operate cities, et cetera, and promote democracy. That's just it. There's no cost. The cost that we have in the budget is something that has always been there, even when we had one city, and that's, of course, if for Natasha, for myself, or whoever's going to actual training here, there's no money that goes to the country. That we don't do. If people would think that we give money to whoever the city is, we don't do that. We will give them technical support, et cetera, training, et cetera. So that's basically it.
And let's conclude that I've been on the council for over 6 years. The same amount who were there before for sister cities, whether we are one city or 20 cities, is the same amount. That's mean there is no increase in budget and anything else. Now let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on the item. Public hearing is still open. Public hearing is now closed. Can I hear a motion?
Oh, gee.
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening, Council. Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. I feel that we should diversify in the Sister City project and include more ethnicities in the sharing I would hope that it could include some countries in the Caribbean, in South America, and that we would share with everyone with an equal hand. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to say that right now we are in the process of adding a Caribbean country, which is city, which is Freeport, Bahamas. And we are working on that.
And Mr.
That's
Mayor,
been multiple.
Even the residents, you guys could give us ideas if you have a country or city, because we're looking at different cities, and we will definitely do it because it's not a cost adding to it. It's just us kind of feeling good that we have a relationship with another sister city. If there's a hurricane or something, they may call us and say, what do we do? You guys are the expert. So it could be any city. So anybody, if you have it, just email it to any of us, and we will look at it. And there's a process. Natasha will go through it, and that'll be it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now closed. Can I hear a motion on the item, please?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion to approve the item made by Vice Mayor Keys, a second by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Next item.
Going back to the natural order of the alphabet.
Yes.
Tab H. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, ratifying the selection of V Engineering and Consulting Corp. As the lowest responsive and responsible contractor to perform the 125th Street beautification project in accordance with the terms, conditions, and specifications contained in invitation for bid number 41-18-19, further ratifying the execution of an agreement with V Engineering and Consulting Corp. for the provision of services in an amount not to exceed $120,500, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, Alberto Estrade, Purchasing Department. The item that you have before you under tab H represents staff's request for the council's ratification of the city manager's bid award during recess to the firm V Engineering and Consulting Corp. as the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for the Northeast 125th Street beautification project, which was advertised by the city through solicitation titled IFB number 421819. As reflected in your council report, the project consists primarily of the installation of landscaping improvements, including the planting of new trees and concrete pavers along Northeast 125th Street from Griffin Boulevard to North Bayshore Drive. In response to this solicitation, the city received 6 bids from experienced and licensed contractors. A tabulation of each of the bids submitted and the resulting lowest bidder, being V Engineering, can be found on the second page of your council report. This project is being funded by a matching grant, which was awarded to the city by the Florida Department of Transportation's Highway Beautification Council. Therefore, in order to comply with the grant deadline, the city manager approved the bid award to V Engineering over the recess, and this is now being submitted to council for your ratification. As a result, staff recommends the council's approval on the award to V Engineering for the Northeast 125th Street beautification project in an amount not to exceed $120,500 and an estimated completion time of 120 days from the issuance of notice to proceed. Also here in support of this item is the city engineer in charge of this project, Mr. Akin Osadin. And this concludes my presentation. If you have any questions, we will be glad to take.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you can ask question if you have any
Mr.
questions.
Estrada, you say you said this is coming to us for ratification, or this is already, explain that to me, we're already in contract with these people?
We had a grant deadline
Mm-hmm.
related to this project. So during the break, we went through the entire process. Under the break authorization, I went ahead and awarded the highest bidder, but per procedure, I have to bring it back for ratification.
Okay,
So-
I don't feel comfortable with that, and I understand, but next time, please, at least let me know. that's what you're doing, because I'm not going to vote for something that he selected. I'm just not doing that. But that I understand the deadline that they have. So we need to find a way where all these deadlines that we are having, where we all were available. I mean, I know I was out the country, but, you know, at least that should have been explained to me that I have a deadline, this is what we're doing, because I cannot be, you know, responsible for it, and I didn't make the decision. So, and I understand that it's a deadline, but when I heard the word ratification, that's why I wanted to just get that clarified. So, moving forward, thank you.
A question, would you like to postpone the vote for next week?
I think it's already done. But I'll go ahead and support it, but just for me, you know, Mr. Mayor, just to be comfortable, Mr. Manager, please do not do something and ask me to vote for it backwards.
No,
when I, you know, but that's
just
fine.
wanna, just
Go
want to make sure I understand. Did we not authorize mayor and council during the recess that the city manager?
Yes.
I just want to make sure.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Do we have a draw? Or
Excuse
do you have a draw, a plan already? No?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do, Mr.
No
Mayor.
presentation of that? Sure. At least we would like to see it.
There's nothing we could do. It's already too late.
No, I understand that. At least we can make change. We can make changes in the plan. At least we would like to see a draw where we're gonna. Yes, sir.
Good evening, City Engineer Akin. We have Kevin from Kimley Horn, Steve from Kimley Horn.
But you don't have any visual presentation.
We don't have any visual, but
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I thought you had one. No, that's fine. Thank you. And now let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab H. Public hearing is open on tab, yes.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. It's my hope that in this new year that we can operate with more transparency and visibility, and approving this plan without any type of visual representation is, to me, unacceptable. We can do better than that, and I ask that we do that in the future. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Gwendolyn West, and I live at 13090 Griffin Boulevard. And being that you're going to beautify the city, that is a long stretch from Griffin Boulevard to Bayshore Drive. You're not letting us know whether you're going to do lighting, trees, and then you say that we've already approved it. Why? And I understand you're saying that you gave the power to the city manager to do this, but does the city manager know what the beautification is? Are we putting art? What is it? Could you just tell us what it is if you're not?
No.
You don't show. You're not showing us anything. Next time. After the 120 days are over, you bring it the next time. I live in the neighborhood, and you know we already have an issue.
Go ahead and just answer some questions.
Yes.
We're gonna.
Do you have a question? Go ahead.
I asked him. I did ask him a question.
Okay, so you can have a seat, and we're gonna answer all the questions
Okay.
after. Public hearing is open on tab H.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Hi, Alina Medina, 1270 Northeast, 124th Street. And being that it was approved already, maybe there's space still for the citizens to participate in the ideas of this enhancement to 125th. Is that possible?
Okay.
I mean, the
You hear the
grant was
question?
approved.
Can you?
Uh-huh.
Yes. We are going to answer all the questions at once. What is your question?
So the grant was already approved. I understand that. Is there still a possibility that citizens can participate in possible workshops to have input on the design of the beautification.
Thank you very much. We're going to answer the question
Thank
after.
you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is still open on the item. Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Estradi, let me ask you a question. Is it
Yes,
a
sir.
part of the downtown action plan that we've been having for years that we passed? Huh?
Right, this is a beautification process, project rather, Mr. Mayor. I'm not the design engineer.
Okay.
I handle the
Thank you very
procurement
much. Can I hear a
aspect of it.
motion to table the item because people want to see visual presentation about the item?
Sir, may I? You already,
We understand that, but we need to see a visual presentation. We want to see it. That's
Okay,
what- How
but
did you
I
approve
just wanna
something
put
if you
one-
haven't seen the draw? That's what we want to see.
if you
Whatever
allow-
you saw
Mr. Mayor, if
to
you allow me
approve
to
the
put it on the
project,
record.
we want to see it, and the residents want to
Okay.
see it. That's all.
That's fine. I would like to put something on the record, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
You already approved.
We
this-
unders-
No, not my authorization to issue this. You actually approved the grant with the scope of work and everything previous to.
We understand that.
Okay, I
We
just
un-
want to put that on the record. So
we
it's not
just
like it
need
was
to see a
never-
draw, a visual presentation for the
So
residents.
I just want to clear up that it was not,
We
ever
unders-
not brought to this council.
We understand that.
Yes.
Yeah.
My concern was not that it wasn't bought.
No, that's not
yeah,
what
that
we are
we know,
discussing.
because
They
we
wanna
voted
see
on
it
it,
draw, yeah,
obviously.
that's fine. And let's
I'll
move it to
second
the
that.
next council meeting.
Second.
And we have a second.
Okay.
Madam Clerk,
Sorry. I have a motion made by Mayor Bieneme to table the item at tab H.
to postpone it until.
Continue it to September 10th.
Yeah. It's not, yeah.
To postpone the item until September 10th.
Yeah.
The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Desilme. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion to table passes with a 5-0 vote.
Not to table, to move the item
To
until
move-
the next
To
council.
postpone the item until September 10th.
Thank
It's
you.
technically, when you table
different.
something, just
Yes.
like, tabling means it's off the table indefinitely, continuing to a specific date is
Yeah.
different. So if we're just doing it to September 10th, it's continuing to September 10th.
Okay.
Tab
Thank you.
I, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Mhm.
But what are we gonna do in the, because their answer was, are we gonna put this on the website? Is there a work, so they wanna.
Just a visual
see it, a
presentation,
visual.
and
We'll do a
everybody
full-
can.
Okay.
Full visual
Got it.
presentation.
And
Thank
everything,
you.
yeah.
Dr. West, yeah, that's good, I think, okay.
Tab I, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute an amendment to the agreement between the city of North Miami and Craven Thompson and Associates, Inc., to include construction administration services at a cost not to exceed $159,385, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Once again, for the record, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Department. The item that you have before you is staff's recommended approval of an amendment to the engineering contract with Craven Thompson and Associates to provide the city with construction administration services for 2 water main projects to be located at Northwest 8th Avenue and Northeast 5th Place for a total fee not to exceed $159,385. As reflected on your council report, on August 28, 2018, the council approved an agreement with Craven Thompson to provide the city with professional engineering, design, permitting, and bid assistance services for the 2 water main projects described in the report. Staff has now negotiated a proposal with Craven Thompson to add construction administration services to these 2 projects. These services include, but not limited to, on-site construction observation, public awareness assistance, testing, and reporting, final inspection, final certification. Staff has negotiated a fee of $159,385 with Craven Thompson to provide these services over an estimated project duration of approximately 7 months from the city's issuance of a notice to proceed. Here with me in support of this item is the Public Works Director, Mr. Wissa Pierre-Louis. In the event that you have any questions regarding the actual work involved for these projects. This concludes my presentation, and if you have any questions, be glad to take them.
Thank you very much. Any question on the dais? And let's move it to the public. Public hearing is open on tab I. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. Here we have another example of an agenda item that is completely, purely vague. Vague, meaning there is no transparency at all. It just says construction administration services. I had to sit here to know, which I just learned it included Northwest 8th Avenue and Northeast 5th Place. Can we please operate with more transparency this year? Can you please state in the items specifically what it's for? I think that's reasonable. And really, that's what we expect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. But residents say they need water and sewer improvements. That's exactly what it is. It's water and sewer improvement is stated clearly, and the packet is online. All the information are online. Mr.
Right, it's not fair for us to publicize something, have public hearings, and be accused of not being transparent.
Yeah.
That's just not fair.
Yeah.
There's a duty to actually look at the agenda and inform yourself instead of just rising to the microphone and saying you're not being transparent.
By law, every Wednesday, is it Thursday before the meeting, everything is on the city website, the supporting documents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mr. Wister, just a quick question for them. What is that exactly? It's a sewer project, right? What it is?
Through the city manager, Whistler Pierre Lewis, Public Works Director, it is construction administrative services for water main. The consultant designed 2 water mains at 2 different locations, and now they're providing the construction administration services.
Give me the locations, please.
The locations are Northeast 5th Place and Northwest 8th Avenue.
Northeast 5th Place
Yes.
and
Northwest, so I'll give you the exact, sorry. Northeast 5th Place from 143rd to 145th. Northeast 145th to, from 6th Avenue to 5th Avenue.
the second one is where?
This is all the first location.
Oh, okay.
So it's Northeast 5th Place from 143rd to 145th.
Mm-hmm.
145th from 6th to 5th Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And 143rd from 6th to 5th Avenue. That's the first location.
Mm-hmm.
The second location is Northwest 8th Avenue from 140th Terrace to approximately 150 feet north of 142nd.
Wait a minute. You sure you got that correct?
You know, we serve
Yes.
Oh.
the area outside the city.
Oh,
Yes,
so
we
this is
service
not in the
outside.
city?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just, when he said that, I'm like, that's not North Miami.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure as long as you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You done with the second one?
And from on Northwest 140th Terrace from 7th Avenue to 8th Avenue.
That's it.
That's it.
And all those informations were online.
Yes, sir. they
Thank
were.
you very much. Public hearing is still open on the item. Public hearing is now closed. Can I hear a motion, please?
Motion move.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin to approve tab I. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab J, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute a professional services agreement between the city of North Miami and TerraTech Inc. for surveying, geotechnical, utility verification, subsurface utility exploration, design permitting and bid assistance and construction administration services for a force main replacement project in an amount not to exceed $345,128 pursuant to request for qualifications number 08-17-18, continuing professional architectural and engineering services, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
For the record, Alberto Estrada, Purchasing Department. The item that you have before you under tab J is staff's recommended approval of an agreement with the consulting firm Tetra Tech to provide the city with professional engineering services for the Northeast 135th Street Force Main Replacement Project at a total fee not to exceed $345,128. As reflected in the council report submitted in support of this item, Tetra Tech is one of the engineering firms approved by this council on the list of pre-qualified CCNA consulting firms on February 12th of this year, and was the top-ranked firm in its category. As a result, staff requested a proposal from Tetra Tech to provide engineering services for the following project, and a description of this is in the council report, as was in the previous council report, a complete description of the location. The location is this project is to replace the existing 18-inch diameter force main along Northeast 135th Street from Biscayne Boulevard to Northeast 16th Avenue. The proposed force main will be connected to the existing 10-inch diameter force main that runs along Northeast 135th Street east of Biscayne Boulevard and the existing 16-inch diameter force main that runs south along Biscayne Boulevard, south of Northeast 135th Street. A portion of the 10-inch force main will then be replaced to just outside of the Biscayne Boulevard eastern right-of-way line. The proposed force main will be reconnected at Northeast 16th Avenue to the continuation of the existing force main being replaced, which continues north to Miami-Dade Pump Station 347. The portion north of Northeast 135th Street will not be replaced. Staff has negotiated a fee of $345,128 with Tetra Tech to provide the necessary services for this project with an estimated duration of 24 months from issuance of a notice to proceed. Staff recommends award of this contract with Tetra Tech and requests authorization to finalize and execute an agreement with them for this project. Here with me in support of this item was once again the Public Works Director, Mr. Whistler Pierre Lewis, and if you have any questions, we'll be glad to take them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can you repeat the location, Mr. Whistler?
Sure. The project is on Northeast 135th Street from Biscayne Boulevard to Northeast 16th Avenue.
What are you doing exactly?
We are replacing a force main, an 18-inch diameter force main.
Thank you very much. Do you have any? Yes.
Yes. What's the timetable for start and finish on the project?
The time, it's estimated 24 months from the point that we issue a notice to proceed to the design engineer. That includes the design, the bidding, and the construction.
I care most about how long the road's going to be torn up. When will the road begin to be torn up, and when will it be patched and back to normal?
I'll have to defer to the consultant for that exact timeline.
Good evening. Chris Savatsky with Tetra Tech. That timeline, sir, 8 months in construction.
Starting what date?
It would be 2 years out minus 8, so we'd be looking at about April 2021. Is that right? Nope.
So
January.
April 2020.
January 2021.
January 2021 through August 2021.
Through August 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a little ways off. A little reminder with an ability for me to put it out to residents in the area. That would be very helpful because that's the railroad crossing and
Exactly.
everything there, so it'll get really tricky.
Exactly.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have-
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Real quick question, definitely in support of the project. But Mr. Estrada, the selection process, they were in a pool, right? They're part of the pool that we have.
Yes, sir, Councilman. They were the top-ranked firm in their category.
No, I understand. Is it possible, I just want to make sure, and it has nothing to do with the company, that that you could give me a report of what firm get what, that we evenly, so we haven't done, this is their first project, right?
This is their first assignment under the new.
Oh, awesome, thank you.
What? What do you want to say?
No.
It's fine.
He said that this is their first one, so it's not that they're repeating.
Oh,
You're not,
okay.
touching the other ones, being
Okay,
fair.
okay.
That's fine.
Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
yes.
I'm just really happy we're starting to get these water mains done. Our city really needs them. Thank Whistler, your team did I wanted to say this, did a fantastic job. Friday night, we had a 6-inch water main that broke in Keystone.
Yes, Keystone Boulevard.
They were out there in a matter of minutes and worked for several hours on a Friday night. And I know we had a similar, that was Nature, and then we had one like 2-3 days earlier on Biscayne Boulevard. And that was, a contractor did it, but our water mains, our water system is old, and the sooner we get all this done, the better. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on the item.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Welcome back from your break. Kevin Burns, 2065 Alamanda Drive. Just for clarification, I've read the attachment to the agenda item. From my understanding, this is just the construction services, architecture, so forth. It is not the actual installation of the water main. Is that correct?
That's correct. These are
So they're
these are the engineering services.
All right, the engineering services. So they're going to have to come back and get approval to spend the money on the actual pipe that you're going to include. Engineering is usually about 10 to 15% of your cost of your project. So are you saying this water main is going to be close to $3 million to go from 18th Avenue to 16th, or Biscayne to 13th Avenue? And if that is, when will that come before the council for approval, and why is it not included that this is a component to a bigger project? Because if that is in fact what it is, and if we're spending $350,000 on this project, but you just approved a company prior at $158,000 for a supplement to their contract for 2 water mains, force mains, and you're doing one on here. I just want to make sure we're comparing contracts, but are we actually investing in a $3 million project that's coming sooner or later to us before they do their work?
Well, this contract is.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna answer the. Yes. Public hearing is still open on the item. Public hearing is now closed. Can you answer?
Sure
Yes,
thing.
sir.
This contract is for the engineering services. The design of the project hasn't even commenced yet. As part of their services, they'll be providing estimates to us as we go along, leading up to the actual bidding of this project. And yes, the mayor was correct. We will have to bring this back to you, the actual bidding of this project. But first you have to design it, and then they're going to estimate it, value engineering, working with staff. But the public works director can add to that.
Those is for design of the project, right?
Design of the project.
And engineer. Yes, sir. You wanna say?
Yes, the consultant did provide a preliminary cost estimate, and it was approximately $2 million for the force main.
Okay. That's when they charge more than 10% of the cost for for design.
The cost for the design and construction management services fluctuates.
Okay, okay. Let me ask you a question. Do we have the money available already?
Yes, we
You
have
set aside
requested
for
it in
that.
the budget. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just a quick question, Mr. Mayor. Former mayor mentioned a point, and I just want to be clear because I'm assuming the scope is different. The previous firm with the 2. This one, I'm assuming, is a little bit more detailed. That's why we double. So give us an explanation, your expertise, why is it double, so that at least the public will understand the nature of the scope.
This is a 18-inch force main. It's a larger size than both of the prior projects. It's on an FDOT right-of-way, Florida Department of Transportation. The force main will also cross the FEC, the railroad, and a canal, which is under the jurisdiction of the South Florida Water Management District. So it's a more complex project. It will include not your traditional open cut construction, which is the most basic, simple one. There'll be different design implications, and that's why it's more complex and
Next
costs
question.
more.
With the pool that we have, Mr. Estrada, did we put it out there? We were looking for a quote, or we just selected somebody and said, give us a quote?
No, under CCNA guidelines and the statute.
What is CCNA?
It's the governing statute for these type of services. You cannot bid out these projects. Professional
Okay.
services cannot be bid out. You can't sort of price shop.
So
They're
you just
considered-
pick somebody and then they tell
That's
them to
correct.
give you?
And, well, it's a negotiated price.
So you
Our
negotiated
quote-
this, I'm assuming?
That's correct.
Let me clarify that answer.
Because I'm in the wrong business.
The consulting, the statute, the Consulting Competitive Negotiation Act
Mhm.
calls for us to do pre-qualification lists. And if you
Which we
recall,
did.
we did. Remember, we had the two segments. We had
Mhm.
a smaller project segment
And
and a
we-
larger. And remember some of the lists, and there were several lists that we approved. Then from there, when we have a project that comes up, then we go to bid that.
Okay, because
So-
I'm glad you bring that up, because I will be advocating that we don't do that anymore, because we are at a disadvantage as a city, because,
We're required to by state law.
oh, we required to by state law.
yes.
So in other words, you're saying the state law is saying, the state statute is saying, we have to pick a company, and whatever price that they give, we negotiate with them, and we give them, and that's that.
No, it says we have to, ahead of having projects,
Mhm.
we have to establish a
the-
pre-qualification
Which
list.
is fine. I'm
right?
okay with that.
And then from there, we would then negotiate. It's not saying we pay whatever price. We still go through a bid process.
But he just said we didn't go through a bid process.
No,
We went
he-
through the
No, what he was saying,
pre-qualification.
we don't go through an individual bid process to select the firm that's getting this work. That's the
So
clarification I
what
wanted to make.
so what process did we, how did they got selected? I just wanted to
Well,
know.
Once again, just to follow on the city manager, these firms were pre-qualified and submitted
I
to
know that.
council, right? So then under.
I
under
just wanted to
CC
know, you selected it, which is fine, but
Under.
so that
under-
we all understand.
Right, Councilman, under state law.
Yes.
These types of professional services, the only way that you can award these contracts is on a negotiated price. Now, if you sit down, across the table to negotiate a proposal from the firm and you cannot come to terms because you believe that the rates are too high, et cetera, you can then move on to another firm.
To another.
But you cannot sort of bid shop.
It's
Right.
just a lot of loophole that's not beneficial to us, but okay.
Do you have any question on the dais? No, let's open it to the
Yeah.
public. Public hearing is open on the item.
It's already open.
They're already open, we close, no other questions. Can I hear a motion on the item, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve the item at tab J. The motion was seconded by Vice Mayor Keys. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab K, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, establishing a pre-qualified list of contractors for the provision of home repair services for the city of North Miami residential rehabilitation program at a cost not to exceed $2 million annually, in accordance with the terms, conditions, and specifications contained in request for qualification number 32-17-18. Further authorizing the city manager and city attorney to negotiate and execute agreements for the provision of stated services with the selected firms, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Alberto Estrada,
Thank
Purchasing
you,
Department.
thank you very much, and Madam Clerk, for tab K. And I did not have a chance to review the item, and we are about to select companies for $2 million contract, and I would like to postpone that item to the next agenda so we get more information about it. I don't know if I
Second the
can-
motion to continue to September 10th.
Thank you very much.
I have a motion made by Mayor Bienemé to continue the item to the September 10th council meeting. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The item passes to continue the item to September 10th with a 5-0 vote.
Next,
Tab M, proposed ordinance, first reading of the mayor and city council. Proposed ordinance, first reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, adopting amendments to Volume 1, Goals, Objectives, and Policies of the City of North Miami, 2016 Comprehensive Plan in accordance with the requirements of Section 163.31843, Florida Statutes 2018, and Chapter 29, Article 3, Division 11, Section 3-1102A, and Sections 3-1105 through 3-1110 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, specifically by amending the future land use element to 1. Create a new North Miami Transit Station Overlay District with related goals, objectives, and policies. And 2. At Policy 1.2.1 to establish maximum density and height for the new overlay district. And amending the future land use map to reflect the boundary of the new overlay district, providing for an adoption hearing and subsequent transmittal of the proposed amendments and supporting data and analyses to the State Land Planning Agency for a determination of completeness, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, and for an effective date. That was tab M.
Thank you. For the record, Tanya Wilson with Community Planning and Development Department. Item M is a comprehensive plan text and map amendment. The request is to create a transit station overlay district within the area at the vicinity of Northeast 123rd Street and the FEC railway line. I'm going to walk you through the presentation for tonight's item. So the council will recall that back in December of last year, the CRA actually adopted a major TOD mobility hub master plan. And in that master plan, there was a recommendation for a transit station overlay district to be created. And the boundaries of the district spans north to Northeast 30th Street, to the south to Northeast 121st Street. The FEC line is on the eastern boundary, and the western boundary spans to Northeast 10th Avenue. So we have a depiction of the boundaries of the TOD district for those that are looking at the presentation at home. So based on the recommendations in that mobility hub plan, it was recommended that the density be 125 dwelling units per acre. The permitted height within that district will be up to 200 feet. It will allow for mixed use, several residential, retail, and office uses within, open space and park areas within that district. And the minimum unit size recommended there was 500 square feet in size. So looking at some of the benefits of creating this TOD district based on the master plan that was adopted. The first one is to encourage sustainability, sustainable development within the district. It's a pedestrian-oriented type of environment that encourages biking and walking and public transportation. It's also a part of the recommendations from the ULI study that was done back in 2016. ULI identified that Arch Creek areas being one of the highly flooded areas within the region. It's actually recommended that there is higher density that's created within that area because of the excessive flooding that they've experienced in the Arch Creek area. And then the third recommendation there is that the area would promote affordable housing, workforce housing within that area with the smaller unit sizes and a mix of both residential, retail, and office use. And then fourth within the recommendations, within the study, it pointed out that it would create for new Class A office space where currently it's limited within the city itself. So it provides an economic development opportunity within the city from creating that district. So in terms of the next step, because this is a comprehensive plan amendment, state statute requires that it be transmitted to the Department of Economic Opportunity. They'll have the review of those text amendments and the actual map amendment for 30 days, and it's returned to the city. We have up to 180 days in which to incorporate any objections, recommendations, or comments from the state. And then you'll see the item again on second reading, and at which time all the recommended changes would be incorporated into your comprehensive plan, and the map amendment would be reflected on the city's future land use map. Staff is available to answer any questions if the council has any questions at this time.
Thank you very much. Any question? No.
Just a quick one. I've heard how we don't know where the train station is going and when. Should it happen to go to 151st Street, will we just simply have to redo this proposal and resubmit it, or?
So there's a subsequent item that's on this agenda as well that recommends a TOD area within the vicinity of that location. So if it's located at 151st or 123rd, the city's land use and the city's standards would be ripe and ready for any redevelopment in either corridors to cover our bases.
Yeah, that was the one we did, probably.
The SDTOD.
Yeah, the STTOD is probably going back almost a year now.
Okay.
In the M1 off of south of 151st.
Okay, yeah,
Right, yeah.
I know we're all hoping for 123rd Street, but should it go somewhere else? I didn't want us to be flat-footed. and
We'll
go
be
all
ready.
around.
We'll be ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much.
This,
Go
through the mayor, so this, if for any awful reason we don't get a train station, this is still a mobile transit type zone where we can use other forms of transportation and mobility to get people there and then downtown and.
Absolutely. So that's a good point that the ULI study brought out. The fact that this is such a severely flooded area and the area is low-lying with excessive issues in terms of development potential. It's good that the master plan conceived it as a mobility area, not just transit itself. It's pedestrian oriented, it has open space and park areas. It allows for even like a bus type of kiss and ride experience. So it's not limited to just a train station is the way the master plan set it up. It's all the multimodal options that you'd have in transit.
We discussed this TOD in 2015 when we did the comp plan, and we were sort of waiting to know, in fact, it was me, to know exactly where that train station was. But at this point, if we don't get the train station, this is still
Absolutely.
Right for
A
this
mixed-use
area for the
village
higher-
is what you'd have.
Okay, thank you.
Correct.
Now let's open it to the public. Public hearing is open on the item.
Sarah McDevitt, 14490 Northeast 10th Avenue. I have a question. If I understand correctly.
Is the mic open?
Sorry,
It's
you can't
turned
hear
on?
me well? Can you hear me?
And as I see,
All right, sorry. If I'm not mistaken, you said that it's up to 130th Street, but isn't Arch Creek north of that? Isn't the flooding area more north of that?
I'll pull the map back up for you. So,
Oh, sorry, you don't want to have a conversation?
Oh.
Sorry. So, but then also, either way, obviously, I'm very much in support of having a transportation hub right in that area. You know, there's a lot of construction already in that area that is well suited to having a mobility station, and then increasing density and height in that area is great for our downtown. So I'm in favor of it, and just curious about that, identifying that area as a low-lying area, because I was under the impression that the low-lying area was further north of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is still open on the item.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Staff, Howard Duncan, 12600 Griffin Boulevard. I would implore you all to move forward with this transit overlay district, this plan. If you look at our city on a geographical map, it's roughly 1.5 miles square of an oblong square with 125th Street down the middle of what will be a future island. And we're going to have a lot of residents, whether they understand this or not, in the next decade, even less, are going to be losing their homes. So we have to address the housing issue, and we have to build towers. I think it's way less ambitious than it should be, and I think that one of the only resources we have in our city is air rights. And I think that we should go really high and allow that, and have a mitigation of green space, which would pay for moving people into towers in the future. But if you go to conferences of the real estate people, the business community, behind closed doors, they say, you know, the ground people have to go. The idea of a single family home, of a 1950s dream, is not the future of North Miami. And if we don't take rising sea level and climate change seriously, we're not going to have a livable city into the future. So we must develop in a holistic and very smart way into the future. And we probably have one shot at this. So the legislation that you all agree on in the next year to 18 months will define the next 10 years and whether or not we have a habitable city. So this, whether or not we get the train station, we have to have this, because in 5 years from now, people will be screaming for somewhere to live, and we need to think about the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. Kevin Burns, 2065 Alameda Drive. You're proposing 125 units per acre, but the transit corridor up at 151st Street that you rezoned and you raised the density is at 150 units per acre. Why would we not make this 150 units per acre to match what has been already allocated or already been approved at the 151st Street, which is the old lock company, the 2 acres, the Channel 2. You're working on a project there and allowing them 150 units per acre at 200 feet. If it's good for 151st Street, that would be good for this part of 123rd Street. Those extra 25 units per acre will help keep the cost of those projects down. Right now, an acre of land around that area is going in excess of $3 million. That's about $20, anywhere from $18,000 to $24,000 per door, and developers look at the cost per door. Also, the problem is that for this to work, this overlay to work, is they're going to have to assemble lots of small parcels together. But if somebody wants to build on a half of an acre and go up very high, they're very limited to 75 units. Right now, there would be 65 units, which makes it hard to be a viable project. So I would suggest amending this, adding the additional 25 acres. You already have it at 151st Street. Why don't you have it consistent for the whole overlay corridor rather than build here it's 125, build there it's 150. And again, whether we get the train station or not, we need this in that area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is still open on the item. Public hearing is now closed. Tanya, and just a question.
So if I could respond.
Why did you propose 129 units instead of 151, the same as 151?
So during the master plan process for the mobility hub.
Can you project a little bit, Tanya?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Can IT put the volume up, please?
Testing. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead.
So during, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So during the master plan process in creating the recommendations from Mobility Hub, the recommendation that was received from the public and the discussions that were held was for 125 units. But Mr. Burns is actually correct. For the subsequent item that you're going to hear, the density is slightly high. It's at 150 dwelling units per acre. Staff wasn't opposed to going that high, but we really were seeking to implement the recommendations of the master plan in whole and really stick to the spirit of what was discussed during the community forum. But it's really at the will and pleasure of the council if they feel that the two need to comport in terms of the density.
What about the units?
The minimum unit size is the same. It's 500 square feet minimum size. The only difference is the density.
No, the units per acre is the same as 151?
It's not. Yeah, the one you're looking at now is 125 dwelling units per acre. The next item that you'll hear at 151st is 150 dwelling units per acre. So it's slightly higher.
Okay, you just because you didn't get any recommendation from the public and
correct.
anybody
We were
else,
following the master plan's recommendation.
Okay.
Since it's the will of what was heard, we move forward the recommendations as reflected in the master plan.
Okay, thank you very much. City manager, you were going to say something about it? You are discussing, sir. You already submitted this to the state, right?
No, we haven't.
Oh, you haven't
Yeah,
yet.
this is at
Okay,
the
that's not the
discussion
second
point.
reading. Okay, let's. Do we have bring it here on the dais? Questions?
Well, you're saying that the reason that you kept it 25 less than the the one on 151st is because you following the master plan, you didn't hear feedback. I'm not opposed to it either way. So it's whatever my colleagues want to do, I'm okay with.
Okay. Who's next?
Yeah, I'm in agreement, so to equal it out, that's fine.
Can we hear you? Can you? We can't hear you. Is your mic?
My mic is on. I said it.
Where
yeah.
is?
So
Is there someone from IT here? They're sleeping.
Everybody just has to project in the microphone.
No, so I'm in agreement with Councilman Alex Zumay to go ahead and add those other 25.
To equalize it.
Yeah, to equalize it. That's fine.
Well,
Vice Mayor.
I was saying whatever.
No, we're gonna when we're done. Yeah.
I mean,
Vice Mayor Keys.
I'm.
Use the mic, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm ambivalent. I'm the anti-development and always want less density. But I see going forward, if the TOD up north is going to have it, we should probably mirror it. I'm going to be, discussing unit size. Is unit size in, we haven't done the LDRs yet for the TOD on 151st yet, right?
It's coming up next.
Okay, that's why it's not mentioned in the next
Here.
item. It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Okay, so this is just density and height.
This one doesn't have nothing. Doesn't address any size units, right?
For the next LDR.
No,
item,
for
that's
that
where it's
one.
written in.
For that item, okay.
And the unit sizes are the same between
Okay.
the two districts.
I wouldn't object to increasing.
Okay. Councilman Scott Garvin?
No.
No question? Can I hear motion on the item
So
with the
moved.
amendment? You want to move it with the amendment?
Move it with the amendment to raise the.
the motion?
Whoever want to, no.
I can make the
Scott made
motion.
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second
to
it.
amend the
The proposed,
the proposal to equal the density with the next item at 151st Street, raising it from 125 units to 150 units.
151, yeah,
So
150.
150 or 151?
151. No,
151.
150.
151 is the street.
Tanya, which is it? No, not talking about the street.
The units.
What number of units are?
So
at
you're raising
150?
it from 125 dwelling units per acre to 150 dwelling units per acre.
50.
Correct, 150.
And
motion is as
secondly,
stated.
what about the amount of units?
So your units minimum square footage is decided in the LDRs. So that's the next item that we're going to be looking at.
No, I'm talking about 151.
That's capped at 2,000 units in the pool.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And I
Madam Clerk.
seconded the motion.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab M with the amendments to raise the density from 125 to 150 units to equal the density at 151st Street. The motion was seconded by Councilwoman Estimate Irvin. Councilman Desame, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Keys?
Yes.
Councilwoman Estimate Irvin?
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme? How do you
Yes.
vote? The item passes with amendments with a 5-0 vote. Tab N. Proposed ordinance, first reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, providing for text amendments to chapter 29 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Land Development Regulations by amending Article 4, zoning districts and the official zoning map to establish the North Miami Transit Station Overlay District, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, correction of Scrivener's errors, and for an effective date.
Thank you very much.
Again, for the record, Tanya Wilson with Community Planning and Development. So this is a companion item. We just adopted the comprehensive plan text and map amendment. The item before you now is for the request of the land development regulations, a text amendment, as well as a zoning map amendment. Within the regulations, the recommendation, again, is at 125 dwelling units per acre. The height, maximum height, 200 feet. The minimum lot size would be 10,000 square feet. The minimum dwelling unit size at 500 square feet, and the lot coverage requirement would be at 80%. Before, in the previous items, we talked about the recommendation to change the density and increase it from 125 dwelling units per acre to 150 dwelling units per acre. So staff is recommending that that amendment be reflected in this LDR amendment that we're looking at currently. In terms of the procedures, Once the comprehensive plan portion has been approved by the state, you'll hear the LDR second reading again when the item is brought back before council for consideration. So we're asking for approval of the ordinance at this time.
Okay.
Move
And
approval.
you just
Oh,
a minute,
sorry.
just a minute.
It's the
For-
same.
we haven't opened it to the public yet. And question, you wanna change the square footage of the units from 750 to 500?
So since the district doesn't exist, we're asking that it be established at 500. We're not doing a reduction or revision. We're just establishing it for the first time at 500
okay,
square
okay,
feet,
okay.
based on the recommendations of the mobility plan.
Okay, but you know that will open the door for further development for those size unit.
Micro
We know
units,
that.
yeah,
We need
micro
to
units are
understand
very
that.
popular right now.
Correct, so that-
Everything downtown is, not everything, lots of what's being built downtown is being built with smaller floor plans.
Yeah, we understand, we are on board, we okay, but do understand that future developments are coming and people are going to ask to reduce the size of units.
Correct.
That's mean we won't be able to say, yes, you can do that, no, you cannot do that, all those things based on where you live, based on it's on my area, I don't want it, it's over there, it's not a problem. We open the door for that. We want to make sure.
Correct.
Let's open it to the public now.
Okay.
Yes. Public hearing is open on the item. Thank you.
Name is Sid Weinstein, 1325 125th Street. On these 500 square foot units, is that rentals or condos or what?
We are going to answer your question, but I believe it's anything. It's up to the project. It doesn't matter if it's condo, rental, or
Are they rentals or condos?
They could be
Or
either.
both?
Either.
Okay. Now, the setbacks on the property lines, how far is the setback now?
she's going to take all the questions, and
Okay.
after that, she's going to answer it.
Okay.
Okay?
That's fine.
You have other questions?
And the train station will be on 125th?
Those are the questions that we are
No,
going
that's
to
not a
answer
question.
after that.
That's an answer.
We do
It
not
will
know
be
that
on
yet.
125th.
Oh, that's an answer from you.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, he's giving us an answer? He said it will be?
He said
That's-
it will be on one.
All
Okay.
right
Public
now.
hearing still open on the item?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Kevin Burns, 2065 Alamanda Drive. Do you all know how big 500 square feet is?
We do.
What it looks like in relationship?
Mayor, I just want to
Yes.
make sure they understand. We
Yeah.
open the door for further developments. And I want people to say, though, you can put it on Northwest 7, but you cannot put it on 123rd. You can do this, you cannot put it there. Everybody within the downtown, whether it's Wynwood or Lauderdale by the sea, by the beach, we see that. I just want
We got it.
everybody to understand that.
I understand it.
Okay.
I'm actually here to advocate that you should drop it to
Okay.
400 square feet.
Okay.
The reason being, if you look at most of the new development going on in Wynwood, Edgewater, where they're actually building and not make-believe building, they're actually building. Studios start out at 325 square feet. The rents are $2,300 a month, and condos are going for close to $400,000. If we're serious about redeveloping North Miami, along the railroad tracks now, so you want people to come and spend good money on rental or condos along the railroad tracks that make noise, let's give them the biggest bang they can get so that they keep the prices affordable. 400 square feet, we had this discussion many years ago, is actually from the back wall there to this first TV monitor right over here. That's about 400 square feet. If a studio can't make it in this whole area at 400 square feet, that's quite a bit. And when you see it visually, how big 400 square feet is, that is huge. If you go up to IKEA and see what their 300 square feet is or 400 square feet of their rooms are, if you want to get on board with the rest of this city, that the county that is moving forward, again, Wynwood, Edgewater, Brickell, 300 square feet, 400 square foot condos and studios are the norm. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're not even counting the micro units, student housing. You should seriously consider, and again, that 400 square feet is an appropriate size for a studio unit as a minimum to begin with, and then they can go up further, but it gives the developers, it gives the people who are going to redevelop and actually spend their money more of a better mix so that you can add the 3 bedrooms and the 2 bedrooms, more of a mix of a unit in there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. A quick question, Tanya. So Lemia for studios is 400 square foot, right?
The smallest one is 423 square feet. 423 square feet
422
inside is the
is for
smallest one.
Solemia. Okay,
Correct.
thank you very much. Public hearing still open on the item.
Jessica Austin, 1140 Northwest 125 Street. I'm very concerned about this item, especially when you talk about the square footage, living square footage, because the impact of what you do on the east side is going to impact what's going to be done on the west side on 7th Avenue, where Sunkist Grove is, where I live. And I have said it before, and I say it again. To build a unit, 500 square feet, 10 stories high at Billings Slums on the west side. Therefore, I do not support this maximum density of such a small space where a person can only turn around in. Because when that translates to the area on the west side and the population who will live there, where people tend to have 2 and 3 or more families in one dwelling, it will be horrendous.
Public hearing is still open on the item.
Wait a minute. Did she
No, we're gonna come here.
No, but she said
She opposes
Hi.
going a little smaller.
Yes.
Jessica Wolin, 2225 Northeast 123rd Street. I understand developers and growth in the city is very important, and I also know they're wonderful for contributing to many things. But also, the voters in the city are the population. Please keep in mind quality of life for the future people that are going to move into these developments. Small spaces don't lead for huge success. Don't approve so much of something that you wouldn't want to live in yourself. Thank you.
Sarah McDevitt, 14490 Northeast 10th Avenue. I've lived in a very small space before, and I will say I didn't have a family at that time, but it was actually quite pleasing. And if we create the mobility hub that we're talking about creating, where we have parks, recreation, restaurants, things at our doorstep, a life that's not lived entirely inside our 4 walls is something that doesn't require a lot of space when we go home. I think that the way, I mean, even if you watch design shows or things that are going on right now in the world, micro living or reducing our things and being out in the world more is a trend that's very much taking off. So, you know, yes, we're taking a risk that if we don't bring in high-end developers, we might have, you know, substandard living there. But if we really look at this as an area that we're developing comprehensively, and this is our downtown core, and we're encouraging, you know, young and vibrant community, along with, you know, a mix of opportunities for us to do things outside of the home, I don't see why this would be an unpleasant life that we're offering to people with a small space.
Thank you very much.
Claudia Pasmino, 13504 Northeast 23rd Place. I actually lived in a studio when I lived in New York City, and it wasn't pleasant. And granted, I lived in New York City. I can go to Central Park. I can go out. So I do agree with Jessica. What she said, please have consideration for the people who are going to be living there, because North Miami doesn't have enough parks for people to take their dogs to play, to have recreation. We don't. So don't assume, oh, we're going to be the next happening city. We're going to be like Wynwood. No, really think about the quality of life of people. And again, I did live in a studio in New York City. One of the reasons I came back to Miami, because I wanted sun, I wanted greenery, I wanted to play with dogs. So have that in consideration.
Sid Weinstein again. The dorms in Miami.
He's a developer. It's another question. It's another item. He didn't.
Guys, we got to use these microphones, please.
Sid
Wait,
Weinstein from 1325
If he's- sir,
Northeast
Mayor,
125th.
Mayor,
In
Sorry,
Miami,
excuse me.
It's public comment. If this is public comment, he cannot comment twice. If he's already spoken on the item, he can't speak again on the item, sir.
Can't speak again.
When did we? Because it's a quasi judicial.
That's just the way it is.
We've been having that. Thank you very much.
You don't want
yes,
me
sir.
to
Go
talk
ahead.
again? Is it okay?
2 minutes.
Okay. In Miami-Dade, they have dorms now because this is a college town right now. North Miami happens to be a college town, especially around the tracks. In Miami-Dade, they have 200 square foot units they're selling now. In Miami-Dade, we don't want to go 200. 400 would be sufficient for a dorm or a rental or anything of that size. The minimum should be, I'd say, around 400. But, okay.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is still open on the item. Public hearing is now closed. Can I hear a motion on the proposed, on the dice, sorry.
I just want to ask a question, because I'm not comfortable with unlimited 500 square feet. On the PCD and the NRO, we've got 20% of the units can be 500 square feet. I think that that's a little bit limited for this particular district. What if we required that if it's going to be 500 square feet, that it be limited to a studio or one bedroom? What I wouldn't want to see are 500 square foot we don't have that in our code. Everything is 750, so right now we can have a 3-bedroom, 750 square foot unit. Could we make this limited to, you can have the 500 square feet, but it can only be a studio or one bedroom, as opposed to just limited, because they could be making, again, 2, 3-bedroom units. And if we're going to have 500, it should be limited to like 2 people in that dwelling.
It should be limited
So,
to
I mean,
a
I'm
studio,
just-
not 2 people.
Right,
Two
you can't-
people. 2 people. I mean,
A
that's the
studio,
law.
not 2
No,
people.
the-
You can't regulate.
Oh, yes, you can. That's the law. I believe that is a county law,
Yeah,
that
a
it's 2
studio.
people per bedroom.
A studio. Can you?
Councilman, you can't regulate the number of people.
She
No, let the attorney.
Yes.
You can't
okay.
regulate the number of people in a unit through land development regulations. These are
So you
land
can't-
development regulations. You can't say.
So we couldn't have a land.
Not through the land development regulations, no.
So how do you do it in the zoning to say, okay, you can have a 500 square foot 1 bedroom, and 2
can't.
bedrooms must be 750?
Not in your land development regulations.
And where
You're
do they do
developing the
that?
land- I mean, you may pass an ordinance, but not in your land development regulations. We're
Okay.
talking about zoning and land development regulations.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Are you
Mr.
done,
Mayor.
Vice
Oh,
Mayor?
sorry.
I just wonder if there are any recommendations. I just hate to see, a tower with all 500 square foot units.
But if I might argue that point, that's what's happening downtown right now. That's what the future of development is not,
Use the mics.
that's what the future of development is the smaller micro units, for lack of a better definition.
Yeah, and Councilman Galvin, if I could add to that, when the market study was done in relation to the mobility study, it was focused more on the issue of housing choice. The fact that you need an age-friendly type development that allows for units for students as well as the elderly, and that you don't just have larger sizes that become unaffordable, and then you have folks that are priced out of the market. So the consultants did look at that in consideration, and they felt 500 square feet would allow for that mixed income and that workforce housing experience that you recommend having in your housing stock within the city.
Mr. Mayor, and I have this conversation with you guys fairly regularly when we start talking about development. we can take you on tours, we can get developers in front of you. It's not practical. No developer in Miami is gonna build a building, a single building with all 500 square foot units.
Yeah.
Because the market is not going to, they're gonna demand.
Can we get rid of the sign?
Yeah.
Yeah, just let's
Sign.
get
rid of
People
this.
can't see us, we can't see them.
We
We're
talk
gonna
on the
we're gonna
mic.
have, the market's gonna dictate, they want a mix of studios, 1 bedrooms, and 2 bedrooms for the market. I don't care who you talk to, where you go, that's gonna happen naturally. You guys are defining a box right now, and as the attorney put in the record, let's define the box. I understand people's concern with not having a minimum to be too small, and, you know, we can provide for the comparable sizes around South Florida, you know, in the state, and in the southeast region of the United States, if you want to see some of those comparables. But if you look at just the local market, having it a minimum at 500 is not unreasonable right now. So, and that's my experience, both from the city before, my experience as a consultant to developers who have built in Miami, and looking at the general market. But again, I think we could benefit from some of that comparable education process, so you can see some of these buildings. And I'm not saying that to say, I understand North Miami is very different from Brickell. We're not gonna build what they're building there. They're building 80-story buildings, and like former mayor put on the record, yes, there are 323 square foot units for rent and being rented right now for $2,000 a month in downtown Miami, with no store, no grocery store within 3 blocks, no restaurants, no nothing around it. But that's people who are migrating back to the downtown area, and they want to be east of I-95 and closer to work and all those things. So I just want to put that on the record for your consideration.
Thank you very much.
Did we close
Yes,
public hearing?
we close public hearing this year.
You have a question? I thought that your recommendation is 500. All we were doing is entertaining the idea of going the minimum of 400. I thought
you're
that's
correct.
the
The recommendation
okay.
on
So
the books
I mean,
is
if
500.
you saying that the market study that you did for this says 500, I mean, I don't know if that, because that's the question. It's either we're doing 500 or the suggested number Kevin threw out there 400, or do we want to do?
No, let's keep it
450?
500
Yeah,
to
that's all.
start. Then
Yes.
it's 750. Let's keep it 500.
500. Okay,
yeah.
perfect. So we good.
And
I
the thing is, we need to understand, when someone is investing his money on building something, they want to make money. That's mean they're not just gonna come because take advantage of the 500 square foot, and after that they cannot sell it or they cannot rent it out. That's mean, and they're gonna conduct the study, the survey, and everything before they build, and based on the demand, that's when they're gonna build those units. Councilwoman,
No questions, I'm ready to move
no
it.
question. Can I hear motion?
Motion.
On the proposed
Second.
item?
I guess we ready.
500 square foot as proposed. Madam Clerk?
I have a motion made by Councilman Desilme to approve tab N. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilwoman Estime Irvin, how do you
Yes.
vote? Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Desilme, how do you vote?
Yes.
The item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you very much, and I turn the gavel to Vice Mayor Keys.
Tab O, proposed ordinance, first reading of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, providing for text amendments to chapter 29 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Land Development Regulations by amending Article 4 zoning districts and the official zoning map to establish the special development and transit-oriented development overlay district, clarifying the bonus density allocation provisions, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, correction of Scribner's errors, and for an effective date.
Thank you. For the record, Tanya Wilson with Community Planning and Development. We discussed before the TOD district at 123rd Street. The item before you is for the TOD district, that's Northeast 151st Street. The council may recall back in September of 2018, reviewed the comprehensive plan text and map amendment. That was then subsequently transmitted to the state, to DEO for review, was approved by the state with no revisions. So as such, staff is bringing the land development regulations before you for adoption tonight. I'm going to recap in terms of the development standards that were proposed as a part of this new overlay district. And it's very similar to the district that we discussed before. The boundaries or the limits on the northern end would be northeast 151st Street. On the western boundary, it would be northeast 18th Avenue. On the southern boundary, northeast 141st Street. And then on the eastern boundary, the FEC tracks. This one is dubbed the SDTOD. The minimum lot size would be 10,000 square feet. Mixed use is being proposed to allow for residential, retail, office uses. The density there, as established in the adopted comprehensive plan, is 150 dwelling units per acre. Maximum height at 200 feet. The dwelling unit size, similar to the one that we just had approved, is 500 square feet as well. The lot coverage is 80%. This one has a maximum pool of 2,000 units. So it would be on a first-come, first-served basis. As you've seen with other density bonuses that we have, the projects would be brought before City Council for consideration in a conditional use permit. So staff is recommending adoption of this ordinance at this time to activate the SDTOD overlay district.
Public hearing is now open.
I'm sorry. I'm reading. Okay, public hearing is now open. Thank you, Councilman. You wanna?
It's okay. Everybody was looking at you.
I'm so engrossed in reading the ordinance. I'm sorry.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Ethan Wasserman with Greenberg Traurig, 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue, here on behalf of the property owner on 151st, just west of the FEC rail line. That's the Robert Finbarb Companies. It's about 5.5 acre site, so we're just west of FIU, where obviously there's an aggregation of students and demand for housing. We're just west of Costco. This is in an opportunity zone, and this the comp plan, as the planning director mentioned, the comp plan was approved about a year ago, so we are really anxious to come in and build a wonderful project in the city. I don't want to rehash the discussion that was just had on the item before us, that we kind of covered all the relevant terms. I will add that this legislation is very strict on green resiliency, sustainability requirements. My client supports those efforts. Those are going to be very important as we move forward in the city. The height and density has already been discussed, and the minimum unit size we support. So I thank you all, and we urge your approval of this item.
Thank you. Anybody else for public hearing? Seeing no one, any board discussion?
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call?
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab O. The motion was seconded by Councilman Desilme. Councilwoman Estime Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor Bieneme. Vice Mayor Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Desilme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, the item passes with a 4-0 vote.
We'll have to wait and get the final vote from the mayor when he returns. Correct?
Do we move on to the next?
Yes.
Okay. Tab P.
Tab P, proposed ordinance, first reading, ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, providing for text amendments to chapter 29 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Land Development Regulations by amending Article 5, Development Standards, specifically at Section 5-1405 to revise the standards for parking and or storage of recreational vehicles, boats, trailers, and personal watercraft, providing for repeal, conflict, severability, correction of Scrivener's errors, and for an effective date.
Thank you. For the record, Tanya Wilson with Community Planning and Development. This is pertaining to a text amendment to Section 5-1405 of the Land Development Regulations. The council may recall that there's a moratorium in place right now for administrative variances where recreational vehicles are concerned, watercrafts, boats, trailers. Staff had held a workshop several months ago where we solicited comments from the public, because this was a growing issue surrounding complaints regarding the parking of those vessels in the front yard. Based on the workshop and the conversations that we've had with council and with city manager, we're proffering the following text amendment that would prohibit the parking or storage of these vessels in the front yard and would restrict it only to the side yard and the rear. We would still maintain that 2 feet setback that you have from the vessels and the property line. There's also the requirement that can only be one vessel, so you can't have multiple vessels that are allowed on the property. There's landscaping requirements that you will see in the ordinance as well, that the vessels have to be properly screened up to 36 inches to make sure that there's buffering from the right-of-way and the vessels that are on the property. So staff is bringing this forward to allow for this revision in the code so that there can be additional restrictions to allow for the proper storage of those vessels on the properties.
Thank you. I'll open this to public hearing. Mr. Bichon.
Thank you, Bob Pashon, 13005 Coronado Terrace. This is a good idea, but it needs to be tweaked a little bit. The way it's written, the problem existed with where do people put boats and motor vehicles and 40-foot motorhomes, and people didn't want them in the front yard. Code enforcement couldn't enforce it because one of the options was to seek an administrative variance. We give an administrative variance for 6 things, 5 of which are minor deviations from the setbacks, whether it's a dock or a driveway or a carport or a parking space. And this one's created all the problems. So the administrative variance process works for this, but we need to preclude the exception for putting the vehicle in front of the house. That way, if it's in front of the house, it's a violation, and we move from there. The tweaks that need to be done are, I think you need to get an administrative variance to park this in your garage. And for all I know, you could put bodies in your garage for anybody who cares, but you don't need to put it, if I want to put my boat in my garage, I shouldn't have to seek a variance. And the hedges that need to be grown to shield the visibility for a vehicle parked on the side of the house also prevent access for the vehicle. You can't drive it in or drive it out if they've got hedges in front of it. So that language needs to just be adjusted. But otherwise, this is the right idea. It takes the 6th, the one outlier in the administrative variance process, and it says the vehicle needs to be parked behind or on the side of the house and shielded from view. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Kevin Burns, 2065 Alamanda Drive. I don't own a boat. I don't have one on the side of my house. I've never had one. But I know people who have a 18-foot little Boston whaler, and they got 2 jet skis in front of that trailer. And you can't see it from the street. So you're saying now somebody could not have 2 recreational pieces of pleasure, a little fishing boat, John boat, whatever you want to call them, little boats, and jet skis on the side of the house. I have before stored a 8-foot trailer that was 14 foot long on the side of my house. I don't think I should have to get a variance. I also don't think we need a 2-foot setback. Majority of boat trailers out there, and I walked around Keystone and San Souci and a few other areas of the city over the last couple of weeks, and a trailer is averaging at about 7.5 to 8 feet. If you back it up, and it has to be 2 feet away from your fence, closest to the building, it's not practical. It really isn't. And who's going to go out there? Is code enforcement going to go behind somebody's fence and measure 2 feet? Oh, your boat, the way you parked it this time is a foot too close to the fence. I think you should just eliminate that altogether. If you can fit your boat and your 10-foot side setback on the side of your house, so be it, because you want to be able to get all the way around it. Why don't we make things simple for people to enjoy their property, enjoy their time? And if their neighbors aren't complaining about it, why should we create problems that don't exist? I do agree that 40-foot campers don't belong in somebody's front yard. I agree. They don't belong being hooked up to the sewer system. I agree 100% with that. But if somebody's paying the cost of property in North Miami, and they want to park their boat or their camper or whatever they want to park in their backyard for that, and it's hidden, and the neighbors aren't creating a big problem about it, why are we burdening people so much with so much regulation? Then how are we going to enforce it?
Your time is up.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Good evening. Welcome back. Judy Brown, 1100 Northwest 120 Terrace. I'm glad that this is coming up for discussion. I know where I live, it's not, say, water in the backyard, but it's unbelievable the size of boats that we have all over the city. And it is a growing problem. So I'm hoping that whatever decision is made, that we really need a ordinance or code that will be all for all of North Miami, you know, because I don't know what it is. I don't know if they don't want to pay for parking these boats, but they'll bring them in the neighborhood and they will park them everywhere. So we really, really need this. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? Albert Mendez, 2141 Hibiscus Circle. The reason we are here is because people were complaining. So the fact that we are here is because of the complaints. I do support this for the ones that did go to the workshop that we were there. You could never get anything perfect when it comes to the way these ordinances are written or everything, but I think we did the best that we can, and moving forward, I think this will help at least alleviate some of the complaints and some of the issues that we're having with the administrative variance problem and with the traders and with the complaints that we're getting. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? We'll close public forum discussion.
Move approval.
Second.
I need to discuss it first.
Oh, you.
Withdraw my motion.
Thank you. As Mr. Pashon said, this ordinance does need the tweaking, because under A1, really we should not require an administrative variance for someone to put a boat, a trailer, whatever, in their closed garage. So I really would like to see that deleted. If you can put your garage, you can put a boat in your garage, why should you have to go to the city and get permission to do so? So that I
I'll
don't
second
agree
that
with.
amendment.
And number two, I'm passing the gavel back. Thank you. Number two, the way it's written to be, it requires a hedge. If right now it says we're visible from an alley, street, or highway, that you have to install a hedge starting at 36 inches. If you install a hedge in front of your vessel, boat, trailer, whatever, you can't get your boat or trailer in. So that's like an impossibility. We discussed that with Mr. Attorney, so.
Does it have to be a hedge? Can it be a fence with some sort of covering so that there's a way to open a gate, close a gate? What was the thinking behind hedge?
So I think it's a matter of the wording, because the idea was for the hedge to be on either the side or the rear for screening. The idea wasn't to prohibit the movement of the vessel in and out of the property. So maybe we should put side yard so it's clear that the screening is intended for the fence line. It's, yeah, because it's existing language.
So
You
that
took out the
existing
old
language,
language.
no, that existing language, and I've personally dealt with a few of these. It called for that screening to happen, I think it was there when you park the old vehicle perpendicular to the house. I mean, excuse me, parallel to the house.
Mhm.
So it created a screen from, I guess, basically at the sidewalk.
Correct.
Not
perpendicular.
preventing you from going in and out of your driveway.
Correct.
So taking it out, it should be fine. It was because of the position, because you could do parallel and.
To be actually,
It's
I
along the
guess
fence
the
line.
language actually had originally dealt with corner lots.
Mhm.
And we took out that language of corner lot. So I think if you put the language back that it's a corner lot, then it makes it clear that
Perfect.
the hedge is on the
Yes.
side. I think that's what caused the confusion.
Correct.
This originally only contemplated corner lots. It's not
Okay,
so it's not like you have a lot in the middle of the block and you're putting a hedge in
Correct.
front of the house so you
Correct.
can't come in and out. It should only be on the corner
So
lot.
you have, in the case of a corner lot, we're visible from the alley or street, that still means that if you're in a corner lot and you can see it from the front of the house, you still have to put the hedge. So rather
On
than
the
being visible
side,
from
though.
an alley, it should be from the non-used alley or street?
We understand, that. We'll work on the language,
Can
but.
you work on the
yeah.
language?
So should we take,
Okay.
should we continue this, or?
Do you
Oh,
want
we
to
can-
continue this till we get better language?
No, this is an ordinance, so you can, vote on
You
it,
can
and in the
tweak it.
second reading, we'll come
I
back
see.
with
Okay, so, okay.
different language.
I'd make a motion to approve with the deletion of the requirement for a variance within an enclosed structure, and to put the language back in
the
the case of a
corner.
corner lot, but make sure it's known that if it's visible from the side street as opposed to the front.
Yes.
Talking
Second
about-
that motion? And that's a
You're talking
motion
about
for the
tab P?
amendments?
Yeah, that's good.
Motion for,
Tab P, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have a motion made by Vice Mayor Keys to approve tab P with the stated amendments. The motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. Mayor Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
yes.
Councilman Desilme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Keys, how do you vote?
Yes?
Councilwoman Estimate Irvin, how do you vote?
Yes.
The item passes with a 5-0 vote. Mayor Bieneme, with respect to tab O, how do you vote?
And what was it? What is the initial vote?
4-0.
4-0, okay. Make me 5.
Tab O, item passes with a 5-0 vote.
Mr. Mayor, through
And
you
now-
to the city manager,
Yes.
sort of related to this, are you now, the moratorium on things, that's all gone, lifted, and done, or you need something more from us to,
After this we had to do second reading, right?
after second?
Second reading,
Okay.
yeah.
And now it's time for citizen forum, and you have 2 minutes to talk on citizen forum. 3. And I see, how are you, sir? Up front and blanket.
Frank.
Do they have something?
Frank and Blanca.
Yes. No? You don't want to say something?
They have a
Say
musical
good evening.
number.
How are you? And okay.
Musical
They're
number
just-
coming up at the end of tonight's show.
They have what?
A musical number.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Okay. Yes. sir.
Claudia Pasmino, 13504 Northeast 23rd Place. I have a lot of things to say, but I'm going to save it for the next meeting. What I originally was going to say today, I decided to postpone it. Something cute happened with one of my nieces today, and it then reminded me of the back-to-school event. I know the city had 2 back-to-school events. They attended the recent one at Joe Celestine. I couldn't go with them because I had another commitment, but I called them to say, how's it going? They were not happy. They came back, they're like, it was crazy, it was disorganized, people were rude, they yelled like grandma, and I'm like, no, what happened? So they told me what happened, and they even said that they met another lady who said out of several back-to-school events she had gone to, Miami Gardens and Hialeah, North Miami was the most disorganized, which obviously hurt me because I don't like hearing stuff like that. And then the girls told me what happened. A few staff members were nice, but they told me the ones that were not nice. But that being said, today the 11-year-old...
But understand, we were able to serve about 900 people. It wasn't easy. It was hot. It was 100
No, I
degree.
understand.
That's mean
I understand dealing with the
close
public.
to
it's hard.
1,000 people. That mean it's a lot.
No, I understand. Dealing with the public, it's hard. You're not going to please everybody, but I
Yes.
do believe in respecting people, being professional. I understand that if you have people grabbing at things, you're going to yell at them, stop it, if you have all these kids. But still, from what I hear,
You know,
they're
we
getting
had
better disorganized.
we have over 60 volunteers. That's mean.
No, and I
they
told
may,
them that.
They may say the staff may be volunteer also.
I understand
Sorry,
that, but I'm
sorry
just
for
saying,
that.
going forward, tell people, hey, dealing with the public is hard, but just remember, these are kids. Some of them are coming with grandparents. I understand things happen. But one of the reasons I decided to bring it up, because I wasn't going to bring it up, is today one of my nieces had a homework, and I thought it was cute. It asked her, who's the most important person in your community? So they recently came from Colombia a few months ago to live with us to learn English. So the younger one, she's like, I don't understand this question. So, tell her, read it to me in English. I tell her in Spanish, and my mom was there. I'm like, this is her homework. They're asking her this. And she's like, looking at us. Mom's like, didn't we have an election? I mean, come on, you should be able to answer this. This easy question. And then she's like, Joseph. And I'm looking at her, what? She's like, Joseph. And I'm like, Joseph what? She goes, that's the important person in the community. And I go, who's Joseph? She's like, Sandra. And I'm like, who? And then she's like, no, Jessica Joseph. And I'm like, no, Vanessa Joseph. So she's only met the city clerk twice, but I just thought it was so cute because they only met each other twice, and she left a great impression. And then my mom was like, okay, but who else? I'm sorry, then my mom's like, who else? And then she's like, Biename. Mom's like, who's Biename? And then she's like, Carlos. And she's like, there's no Carlos Biename. You gotta know their names. And then she's like, Brownie. But I'm just saying to let you guys know that kids are impressionable, that you guys are making impact on them. Even though it's 1 meeting or 2 meetings or something, they are observing. And so that's one of the things that I'm like, okay, she remembered this. Oh, okay, she remembered this. So I just want to let you guys know you're doing a good job. At the same time, let the rest of your staff know that they're representing the city of North Miami to please, be nice.
Since I stopped you, you have another 30 seconds.
So no, my whole thing is, you guys are impressible. The department heads, the police officers, I also wanted to say back to school, my mom dropped them off to take the bus. First day she dropped them off, but the police officers there were nice. My mom knows a few of them. They, even though she was inside the car, they waved at her, like they big motions, and my mom's like, oh my God, how sweet of them, nice of them. So you guys are doing a good job, but it's just, trickle it down. Let, department heads, you all great. Just trickle it down. Let everybody know you're representing North Miami. Our citizens, our youngest kids are paying attention. Because the ones that told on you guys or the event was the girls. They're like, oh, why did you make us go? This happened. They were rude. They were screaming. They pushed us. So I'm just letting you know, kids are paying attention.
Thank you very much. Citizen Forum still open.
Jessica Alston, 1140 Northwest 125 Street in Sunkist Grove. It's my hope that we, the citizens of North Miami, realize and embrace every community member. Every community member needs to be counted in the census. And I hope that efforts will be made to count every community member in the census. Further, in that we are operating under a friendly audit of minus $8 million. Plus, I think there needs to be more steps taken to make changes in prior ways of operating, which were ineffective and led us to the situation that we're in today. And I hope, I truly hope, that you board members take steps to ensure that next year we won't be in a similar state. Thank you.
Citizen Forum. Citizen Forum still open. Any resident, any comment? We close Citizen Forum. Now it's time for reports. We're gonna start.
I'm just glad to be back, and next Tuesday night is our budget. It's online. Any questions, you can call us, and hope you'll all show up Tuesday night to discuss it.
What's that?
No report.
Councilor Newman.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank all of the staff and volunteers that help us with the back to school that made it very successful on August 3rd. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to also remind you, September 19th, we're having a town hall meeting for District 3 in Griffin Center, so look out for that. Mr. Manager, I would like to, I've been circling the district, and there are some properties that I'm concerned about. They're next to schools, they're blighted, they look abandoned, and I'll give you the address: 695 Northeast 135th Street, 1195 Northeast 147th Street. Oh, I'm sorry. 695 Northeast 135th Street.
It's right across from
Right.
North Miami Middle School.
Right, 1195 Northeast 147th Street. That's right across Holy Family Church. This one is actually near one of our sites, one of our properties. This is 490 Northeast 141st Street. So, yes, 490 Northeast 141st Street.
That one, it's 490, 492. To address. Yeah.
The duplex. So I'd like to see if we can, or direct you to, if we can purchase them, we can turn them to first, whatever we can do, whatever acquisition we can do so that we can better our community. So that's all that I have for tonight. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Great to be back. Just next Tuesday, as Vice Mayor Keys mentioned, it's our first budget meeting. If you have any consideration, any item, it's posted online. It's a work in progress. Please let us know, because I think it's going to be a long night on, I guess, Tuesday, next Tuesday? Next Tuesday. Thank you.
What's that? No more talk. We invite you to our next meeting for the budget. I think if you have any question or concern, you can check with your council person, or you can discuss that with me. We can discuss that with the administration, and there is a way to solve that because we really need a balanced budget. And let's not start right now, and see you next week at our next budget hearing, because sometimes in the middle of the year we are going to complain about things, but in reality it's at the budget that we put those things. So that's mean, please be there next week for our 2019-2020 budget. And Alex, you expect a long night, right?
Well,
I have a question for you. And you bring before us that food bank.
Yes.
And for Sunkist, can you give me an explanation about it?
Natasha's
what it is
gone, right?
exactly?
There's Natasha.
Yes, can you come,
Yeah, we
Natasha?
fig-
And
Sure. I
like
think
the bank
um,
food.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Mayor. Couple months ago, the mayor, the city manager, myself and Natasha, we went up because we have the biweekly food distribution where we feed about 200 people. So we wanted to explore ways, because we know it's a need, of how we could service more people throughout the city, because we're hearing it as we make outreach, throughout the entire community. So what we did, we got I think an amazing deal from FarmShare, right? Feeding South Florida. And so now we are in the phase process of opening to all the entire city, a food bank that will replace the biweekly, but it won't be only for District 4. I think we're gonna have different days for different districts throughout the city, and it's a banging price.
Okay.
The amount of
that's
folks
mean every day.
I think
It's gonna be
about
every day.
The
Natasha
operating
could-
hours that we're looking at is Monday through Friday.
Monday to Friday.
Yes, sir.
All day.
Not all day. I don't have the
Okay,
hours of
okay.
operation.
You're gonna set the time. Okay.
And it's about 500 people, I think.
Yes,
that's mean
sir.
every day you can serve about
Diff-
500
different-
people.
No,
No,
not
no, no,
every
no, no.
day.
For the
per-
week.
Right.
Yeah.
500
Yeah,
for the
so
week.
if we have, for example, we know we have 200, so
seniors.
300, no, well, it's everybody. It's not
Okay,
even,
okay,
it's everybody. You'll be surprised, everybody who,
What
what
I would try to see is to see if we have it at Sunkist Grove Community Center. Can we add another one at
Location.
Enchanted Forest, for example, or in the central part of the city? That's what I'm trying to see if we can extend that, because I have residents coming to me said We do
It's-
understand you're gonna
we-
have it on 13th Avenue, 125th. Can we have another one,
That's
like
closer.
by Enchanted Forest or
Somewhere else.
around, so
The-
to have
we can look
different
into
people?
the logistics. It's just there's a monetary fee for it, which we can all figure out because we are getting ready to go through the budget, and then the logistics. They need a physical space that they can have control over for those hours to operate.
But don't
bring
discuss
food
the
in.
budget, because now we're talking about serving the residents.
No, no,
It's
I'm
more
saying-
important than don't talk about your budget.
I just said
To
we
see
can
if,
figure it out. I just said
okay.
the logistics are more of the issue.
Okay.
Because
okay.
they have to have
A building.
a secured building, a secured space. If you've not seen it, and we got to see the one that they have in Broward, it's like
like
a
a
grocery
supermarket.
Yeah, it's a grocery store with shelves. They give you a theoretical budget, and you just go in and shop. There's no
Yes,
money
a card.
exchange, and you get your
Perfect.
cart, and the food is of great quality
Oh,
and
yeah.
everything. So it's like going to the grocery store.
There's a really good one too, just outside of the city in the North Miami Beach Industrial District that's run by Jewish Community Services.
Where is that?
Yeah.
Where?
It's off
Oh.
of Dixie and about
Oh, 189.
153rd Street. No, it's actually, just, it's across from the
150?
cemetery. I forget what they
Oh.
call
Oh.
that little industrial park in there.
Okay,
And
okay,
if-
okay.
The back. You know.
Oh,
Right,
okay,
but
okay,
it's a very quality
Quality,
thing.
yeah.
So, when you talk about making referrals to families, that would
Would
already
they
be
accept
an
them?
option.
Okay.
Would they
okay.
accept the families?
I'm
from-
almost certain that
Because
they would.
remember,
Bonnie
Bo-
Schwartzbaum runs it.
Yeah.
She's a city
Oh,
resident.
okay. Because I know she had invited me there
Because
a
I
couple
would
years
like
ago. It
to,
was
I,
in
I would
the-
like to have,
Yeah.
we have like, we
Okay.
have it at Sunkist Community Center.
And somewhere
We
else.
have it like, let's speak Enchanted Forest. That's where they have
Oh,
location.
there's a building
in
there.
the area, at least you have
Yeah, use it.
people throughout the city, because don't pretend that it's only everybody would like to take advantage of that, and I have to commend you. That's
And
a
they even
great,
have,
great
Mr.
initiative,
Mayor,
and that's why I would like to extend it to
Another
accessible
location.
to everyone around the city.
because when we looked at it, and the one that I'm going to try to look at the one that Bonnie run because it actually moved. They even have meat, frozen meat. So there's going to be that
Very-
department.
yeah.
But the way it's going to work, each person going to be allocating a card with a budget.
Right.
So it could be whatever we determine. The budget could be $100. So it's not that they're going to go in there and take everything, and they will have to keep the math. Okay, this is what I have, and I think we talked about right now temporarily. We'll divide different days for different area, because there's the free shuttle, so they could right now. But I like the idea of because that's really impacting. Oh, that's Bob.
What?
Okay.
Please.
But see,
No, he's
Bob can project without the microphone. We can hear
Bob
him.
is leaving.
Bob is leaving with Kevin.
Yeah.
So it's really a great thing, and I think it's less than 60 grand for 500 people a week.
Yeah,
so
but since
can't
it's
get
something that really affect the
Yeah.
very need of our residents, and I don't think price should be an issue as long as we are serving the people and the people of the city, and that's the money we want direct impact to the community. And I see that you increase the social service
Yes.
department budget to only 56,000 when you increase your budget by over 200,000. Let's not talk about the budget. Let's close that. And it's social service. Let's close that. That's mean, are you going to explore in a way to? That's mean we're going to have it at Sunkist Community Center. If we can have it at another location to serve everybody.
We
or-
And
will
Mr.
talk
Manager-
to the company and
But
work through those.
Mr.
logistics.
Manager, we did discuss that, Mr. Mayor. I don't want us.
Okay,
We just said we were going to do a pilot to see so that we
Oh,
will get
it's
the
up, okay,
operational
okay,
of it,
okay.
because there's a lot of logistic, and then we'll explore the idea of putting other location to because we know it's not
Okay, that
reasonable.
means can it be in the same budget and you do like 3
What's the
days,
manager?
3 days
Oh, yeah,
over
it's
there,
the
2
manager.
days at another
Yeah,
location,
So
like that?
No,
the
no.
logistics
Okay,
of
okay.
moving. I prefer to just follow the direction you gave,
Yeah,
which is
add
Mhm.
at
Yeah,
another,
yeah. Okay,
at
okay,
at
with
another
you.
site that we operate, and we can agree. It's
Yeah.
3 days a week or 5 days a week or whatever that is.
Yeah, okay.
'Cause that'll be because moving it from
You can't.
here to here, we can't. do
Okay,
that.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And-
I don't know about it. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, through you, for Natasha, for everybody's education, I just had a resident message. She's watching at home. St. Martha's Church on 93rd Street and Biscayne
Oh,
also
good.
has a food
Okay.
pantry. So even if we're
Mm.
not able to have one in every district, so to
We
speak,
could
if we
make
can make those
referral.
referrals, because
Yeah.
93rd and Biscayne is not far, 156th and Dixie's not far, you know, rather than try to come up
And-
with one for the east side.
I heard people say, yeah,
But
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the good thing is, Councilman Galvin, that's why we need the social service department, because that's a function, they will be making the referral to those, so, because I didn't know about that, and thank you to the resident. I knew Bonnie's, but I thought it was by Island TV, where they used to have Island TV in the warehouse back there, but obviously they moved, okay.
Okay. Can we spend another 2 hours, or should we
my
call
God.
for a
Move to
motion
adjourn.
to
Wait,
adjourn?
wait,
Oh,
wait.
sorry.
You-
Sorry.
You got your.
Oh, Madam City Clerk, your report, please.
So, once again, thank you everyone who spoke,
Before
for
this-
everyone who participates every week. We do have an incentive program. If you bring a friend to the council meetings, they will get a free agenda. So please invite all your friends and family. Now, the Florida Department of Transportation, as was said in the beginning, at the start of the meeting, is having a public meeting, which will be held from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. this Thursday, August 29th, at the City of North Miami Commission Chambers. That's right here. And so definitely come out, as they will be unveiling their design projects, and that would be the point at which you would be able to provide your input. Moreover, we are closed on Monday, September 2nd. And finally, we have not received too many board applications. Nevertheless, we will start very soon. And hopefully at the next council meeting, start making these appointments. I do ask that if you think that you know somebody, or maybe your neighbor, or maybe yourself or relative would be great to serve on a board or committee or commission for the City of North Miami, please invite them to stop by the city clerk's office or go on northmiamifl.gov and fill out a board application. This is one of the best ways that you could serve your city and participate in the process. And that is all for me today.
Excuse me.
Give me a
I made an-
second.
I made an appointment for the Youth Opportunity Board.
Yeah, so that seems to be a board that a lot of people haven't made an appointment to, and it's inactive. So that's the issue that we're having and why we did not do it right now.
The Youth Opportunity Board is inactive?
Based on the information that we've acquired. And the problem has been,
They
so
can't
I've
get
actually,
quorum.
They can get called.
I've actually drafted a report, and I'm just going through it to make sure that it's super accurate, where, you know, we inventoried the boards and committees and commissions, checked out all the ordinances. Apparently, appointments were being made that did not really, that individuals were ineligible to make or serve on these boards. And even in some recent appointments that were proposed, although they were not accepted, they were not eligible to serve. And so with all of this information, I'm just going to finalize it before having a meeting with the city manager's office to go over all of this in detail, as well as some of the liaisons that we were made to understand are liaisons for these boards, commissions, and committees. They say that they are not liaisons. Staff has changed and nobody has updated that. So it's actually been a very serious task that we've been working on. To kind of get this and actually streamline the process so that this doesn't happen again in the future.
I would like to see the requirements for the Youth Opportunity Board. I didn't really see any, I don't think they're.
I mean,
in
I'm
our
not
charter?
speaking about the Youth Opportunity
Mhm.
Board specifically,
I'm
although that one has like multiple ordinances attached to it, or, so
Okay.
that's why I don't want to prematurely say something with respect to any one
Okay.
board without making absolutely sure that what I'm saying is accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. A quick question, Madam Clerk. You talked about the FDAT meeting, and it's about the design of 125th Street. It's mean
The design for
I'm pretty
three-
much everyone understand that. Like a few months ago, we passed a resolution to change the way 125th is going to operate, and that's about that. You remember, we are going to they are going to reopen 125th Street, West Dixie Highway. Like if you come in from west going east, you will be able to turn right on Dixie Highway. And the redesign of 127, I don't think you can come from Dixie Highway. If you're on Dixie Highway, you cannot get to 125th Street. You have to turn right on 127 and use 6th Avenue. That means it's a lot of change at that corner, and we encourage everyone to come and participate. What is the date again?
It is this Thursday, August 29th, 2019, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here in council chambers.
Thank you very much. See you. And City Attorney reports.
Just pursuant to Florida statute sections 286.011 and chapter 768, I'd like to request executive sessions in 2 litigation matters. Janice Antoine versus North Miami, case number 18CU22845, and Regine Monestein versus North Miami, case number 16-023904CA01. I've already sent the request out to your staffs, and so hopefully you can get me some dates so we can do those as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See. No, it's not done. It's not. Yes, sir.
No report, sir, but good to be back in session.
Deputy City.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Thank you. Have a good night. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you.